Welcome to The Mystic Fool. I'm Martin Worth, and this is The Mystic Fool.
Deja Vu. Yeah, I was having a magic and flow call with one of my clients, and she's talking about having had a sense of deja vu. And I thought, yeah, deja vu's a cool subject. So yeah, we all know what it is. It's like you're having a conversation or doing something, and you get the weirdest sense that this has happened before. You remember it somehow. In your mind, you think, wow, it's like, yeah, I've done it before. So we know what deja vu is, having experienced it. And now I want to take a bit of a dive into a few theories on what deja vu could actually be. I mean, why do we get that feeling? That strongest feeling that it's almost like a memory. I remember this happening before. In Sophie's case, she won't mind me mentioning her name, I'm sure. She's driving down the road, and the same two people that she's seen before are there at the side of the road, walking across the road, doing exactly the same thing. Yeah, wow, weird stuff. And, deja vu comes along with that feeling of remembrance, but also a feeling of weird. Sometimes you get goosebumps. Sometimes there's an emotion tied to it. Yeah. So, a couple of theories. You may have your own theory. And if you do, then please put a comment down below and let me know what it is, and we can talk about that one day as well. So, yeah. Two most popular theories are that it has happened before, that time is cyclic. Everything has happened before. And so you're, for one reason or another, remembering the last time that you passed by on this cycle of time. So there's a couple of assumptions there, as there always are in these things. And the assumption is that that time goes in cycles, that everything that you've done before. It's like a loop. And I guess it ties in with the theory of dimensions. Dimensions being, one depth of dimensions, which is a different facet to what I spoke about in the podcast on dimensions a few podcasts ago, where I said that dimensions are on a different frequency. Yeah, that's true. But also dimensions are cyclic moments in time which reoccur on themselves. And I guess I should do a podcast on that too. Yeah, so there are cycles of time. Everything has happened before. And there's a point where you remember, a point where the veil is thin between the worlds, between the seen world and the unseen world. And for some reason, you remember it having happened before. There's one theory. Another theory is that you're remembering your plan. This kind of ties in with everything's happened before. This is the theory that before you come into this lifetime, you set a plan. And the whole of your life is laid out before you. I think it's called determinism, is the actual term that people give to this, where, there is no fate. Everything that happens is supposed to happen and happens, and it's like a time track that's predestined, and then you live it out. I don't know. I'm more a fan of cycles of time than I am a fan of everything being predetermined. Unless, of course, it's predetermined based on a previous cycle when something happened. But the proponents of determinism believe that you can't change anything. It's all determined. You And if you do make a decision one way or the other, if you do make a decision one way or the other, it's a decision that you were supposed to make, because it was predetermined that you were going to make that decision. And one of my best friends is a determinist, and it's almost impossible to have a discussion with him about this kind of stuff, because he says, well, it's all determined anyway. So it takes the fun out of it, you know. Yeah, so, the plan. And I do need to do a podcast on blueprints of lifetimes. So there's 2 more podcasts there coming up. Yeah, so they're the 2 popular theories, that everything has happened before, or that everything has been set out and planned prior, and you're simply remembering that this was the plan, or remembering a past cycle of time where this has happened before. I personally believe that we have more free will in our lives than just everything being predetermined. And while I do believe in cycles of time, it's a bit more of an in-depth discussion as to how time loops on itself within the dimension of what we might call this lifetime. So both of those theories I like them, but they don't really land really heavily with me. I think there's another explanation for deja vu, and that explanation is to do with the fact that we have future selves, even within this lifetime. We remember when we were young, and now we're much older. Obvious, hey. My point is this. It is possible for us in this lifetime, because I've done it with my clients, to go back in time, so to speak, to an event in your life where things didn't go quite how they should have gone. This is normally the creation or the activation of an issue within your life. There you are, sitting on the bed as a young child, feeling quite lonely and distressed and upset, with no one to give you any love. What you really need is a hug. And what I have done with my clients is where there has not been the option to recreate that scene for them, where mum or dad come in and give them a hug because mum and dad are the cause of the issue. There's no aunties, uncles, brothers or sisters involved. So what I've said to the client is, hey, you, the now you, in spirit, sit on the bed next to that child, that younger you, and give them a hug. And let's send some love to that child. And let's give them what they didn't get in that moment of time when they needed so much just to be told everything is going to be okay. And we've done that. And the healing has occurred. And the life has changed. And this is called revision. And I wonder, obviously that memory is strong of, in this case, sitting on the bed and feeling lonely and distressed. It's a strong memory. When we went back in time, figuratively speaking, and gave that child love, did that then become a deja vu event where they felt the presence of something strong, something unworldly, something inexplicable? And of course the remembering when is the introduction of the now self to that past moment in time where that child received love. It's a thought, isn't it? So let's extrapolate that one step more ahead. And concept of the future versions of you, we have past lives, because time is really not a thing outside of this earthly dimension. We have past lives. We also have future lives. You are a future self to your past lives, in much the same way that you have future selves, some which we sometimes call higher self, the more evolved incarnations of your spirit. What say a future version of you, a future self, a future life, is recalling down the time track of spirit to what to them would be a past life, and intervening in a moment in time where something happened and revised it and changed it for your higher good. Let's take the case of my friend Sophie driving down the road, two people in front of her that she's seen before. Did those people step out? Was there an accident? She said she had a sense of foreboding. Did a future higher self step in that moment of time and change that time track and prevent that accident occurring? Because in that moment of time, she said, all the lights seemed brighter, everything seemed more real. Yeah, it's possible. What do you think? I know that we can travel back to past lives. And if you or I can travel back to a past life and affect a healing in a past life, it's quite possible that a future version of ourselves can affect a healing for you in this life. Would that create a feeling of deja vu? I think it would. And I think that is what deja vu is all about. Because there must be a reason why we have it at that point in time. I call it a node point. Maybe it's a nothing conversation that you're having with someone and all of a sudden think, oh gee, I've had this conversation before. But maybe on this revised time track, you were not aware of the issue that was created previously and that has now been rectified, and that you are now saved, shall I say. Anyhow, let me know what you think. I love this stuff. Next time you get a sense of deja vu, pause. Ask Spirit, wow, what's that about? So, if you enjoyed this podcast, please like it. Please subscribe to my channel. Please put comments below, because that helps in the whole algorithm thingy-bobby. Send me an email to themysticfool@martinworth.com with your thoughts and feelings. Anything you think that you would like me to talk about in these podcasts, let me know. I will respond, and I will talk about topics that you asked me to talk about. So thank you. Love you. Hope the best for you. And I'll catch you. See ya.